Hello everyone, this is Alonzo. Want to know how to get your first cloud job? Then please register for our webinar. We'll teach you everything that you need to know and answer your questions along the way. Hope to see you there. Hello everyone, this is Alonzo. Want to know how to get your first cloud job? Then please register for our webinar. We'll teach you everything that you need to know and answer your questions along the way. Hope to see you there.
My name is Richard Ferrer, and I can say I am cloud hired.
That yes, come and join and get cloud hired. I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired.
Hey, Go Cloud Architect family. I'm cloud hired.
So, I'm cloud hired, guys.
So I'll just say I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired thanks to Go Cloud Architects.
It worked for me, and now I'm cloud hired.
Because of Google Architect program, I am cloud hired. See!
I am cloud hired. Thank you, Mike and the GlowCloud team.
All right, welcome everybody to another Cloud Career Q&A session with us at Go Cloud Careers. Sorry if there is some background noise here. I am at my office and apparently there is a Chamber of Commerce event out in the lobby and it just echoes down the hall. So anyway, my name is Chris Johnson, Chief Operating Officer at Go Cloud Careers, joined by Mike Gibbs, our founder and CEO, and Alonso Coleman, our Chief of insert name here. Technically, he's our chief of content right now. He might be the chief of I don't know what
branding, marketing, identification, communication, experience.
Yeah. We should give you a hat we should give you one of those digital banner hats where you can change the
yeah.
That's the key. We all wear like a lot of hats.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, we are glad that you've joined us today. So what we do here is we take your cloud career questions, whether they're cloud architect job questions, cloud engineer job questions, cloud architect training, cloud engineer training, any questions that you might have. Like Alonso says in the chat box, don't be shy. Let us know your questions. We know it's always like pulling teeth to try and get people to ask questions at the beginning of these. And then once people start to ask questions, then they just start to roll in. So let's go ahead and expedite that process. Ask us your questions. If you want to know how to become a cloud architect or how to become a cloud engineer, ask us. If you want to know what is a cloud architect or what is a cloud engineer, ask us. If you want to know what type of coding language you need to know,
ask us.
If you want to know what type of experience you need, ask us. We'll answer all these questions. So whether you're looking for cloud architect courses and training or cloud engineer courses and training or just curious about cloud careers, ask us the questions. I don't want to keep asking you to ask me questions. So let's put some questions in the chat box there.
And the reason Chris is saying this is what happens is people tend not to ask in the beginning and then the end. We don't get to enough questions because they keep pouring in fast. So ask us your questions. I've been in this world for decades now. I've helped people now for decades build their best careers, and I want to help you. So ask us your questions.
All right.
I think I'm going to hit them over the head quickly. A cloud architect career, the going salary now is $195. If you want to take that first step to becoming a cloud architect, a successful one at that, and that is just the average. You think about the bell curve, about the exceptions and how much money you can make with bonuses, exclusivity to different content or different data, different people. It starts now. Take the first step, answer questions, step out there. Don't be shy. Let's get you going to your best cloud career ever. So let's go.
Chris, you're talking into a muted microphone.
It's because I'm singing to myself over here. So let's get let's.
Well, don't deny us this beautiful voice, Chris. I want to hear it. I got concert tickets. I'll buy them.
Yeah. No. We'll get to some announcements that I've got instead of some singing. So, but while I'm making some announcements, put those questions in the chat box. I got a little thing right there that says "Ask us your questions." So. I'm serious about that. Ask us your questions. Oh, wait, look over there or over there. It says, ask us your cloud career questions in the chat box. So a couple of things I want to make sure everybody's aware of. Tomorrow, Thursday, we have our free How to Get Your First Cloud Job webinar at 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to register at the link in the description. I believe a member of our team will be putting the link to the chat box, the link to register in the chat box as well. So make sure you register for that. It's free. We talk about everything that you need to know to become the ultimate cloud architect. We'll talk about why we created the program that we have, how we can help you reach that goal, how you can do it on your own, how and what hiring managers want and how you can become it, and what the cloud architect actually does, how to deal with job experience questions, how to deal with HR. We cover all that stuff, and then we'll actually take your questions to answer them in a more private setting. So make sure you register for us there, and we will hopefully get you on the right path. And Baban, if you register for the webinar, we will share the recording for a short period of time, viewable to people that have registered for the webinar.
Yeah.
So if you register at the link that Collins has shared there in the chat box, then you can attend, or you'll receive a recording once the recording has processed, and we have it available to send out to everybody. So make sure to register there. That's for everybody. Next thing I want to make sure everybody is aware of is that we do have our free AWS exam guide. Free. So great that apparently somebody was selling it on Amazon. That was not us. So there you go.
Yeah, that person is no longer selling our book. I had Amazon remove it due to copyright infringement. We gave it away to help people for free, and somebody decided to take our work and our 150 authors' work and sell it, but they're not doing it anymore.
So make sure to get your free copy at the link in the chat box and in the description. And also, Collins, if you could put the link to the video course that we just released. There we go. I think you beat me to it. But we have a video course that we just released. It's 10 hours. So make sure to click that, bookmark it, save it, do whatever you want. It's broken up into chapters. It goes, I think, almost hand in hand in the same order as the book. There may be a few pieces that are in different places, but because of the natural way that we talk about things. But for the most part, the video course goes hand in hand with the exam guide. And also, if you look in the description of that video course, you will find a link to some AWS lab demo videos that you can follow. Lots of free content there to help you for your AWS preparation. And we do that because we think that this is the bare minimum, like bare minimum that people should know. And we don't think that there should be a cost to entry for that. So that's why we provide that to you for free. Put a lot of work into it, not just us, but hundreds of other people have put a lot of work into it to help you and the community. So make sure you get your copy. Make sure you bookmark the video course, get your copy of the exam guide. Next thing, of course, make sure you're following LinkedIn for both Go Cloud Careers and Mike, and make sure you're keeping up to date with everything that we have. Pretty much everything that we do, we announce first on LinkedIn. So make sure you're following us, both of our accounts there on LinkedIn. Also, if you like what we're doing here on YouTube, the subscribe button and notification bell button is down there. So make sure that you click those buttons. All right, so apparently we have one single brave soul out of 15 that
come on, guys and
wants to
gals,
ask
let's
the
go.
question. So we will get to Teresa's question. Let me see. Is it the same one that came in before the show started? It looks like it is.
It's two separate ones.
Okay.
I can address both at the same time.
Okay, give me just a second. Let me put them on screen and let me read them off. So Teresa says, I love how these testimonials are real. I also want to get cloud hired. What is the process? So do we want to answer that one first and then?
Yeah, I'll answer them together. So Teresa, here's the thing. We get people cloud hired every single day. And the reason we get people cloud hired every single day is for the following reasons. I've been an architect now for over 25 years. And in addition to that, I've helped people get their first tech job or get promoted in tech for 2 decades. Now, I used to practice internal medicine, Teresa. I was a nurse practitioner. And when I transitioned to tech, I did something that was very different than everybody else. When I first got into tech, I did what everybody else does, which was the complete and total mistake. I took this 5-day, $5,000 Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer boot camp. Didn't do anything for me. I became a CCNA, and then I took a $11,000 10-day CCNP boot camp. And this is more than 2 decades ago. And I was CCNP certified. And then I got a Cisco Certified Design Associate, and then a Cisco Certified Design Professional. So I was 6X certified. And I applied for jobs, and I got rejected and rejected. And here's the reason why, Teresa. Nobody cares about certifications other than people that are hoping to get a job, as well as people that are trying to sell you certifications. Employers demand competency and many other things. So at the beginning of my career, I literally called 50 recruiters and said, what's the perfect network engineer? And I built a list. And I went on my first interview, and guess what? I was hired for a better position than I even ever interviewed for. Applied to be a network engineer with 0 experience, became a senior network engineer. So I then spent the next 20 years asking every recruiter and hiring manager I ever met, what would you like in the perfect employee? So based upon that and all the data and research that I had done, plus 20 years of studies of psychology, exercising influence, neurolinguistic programming, sales, and of course, tech. I'm one of the original Cisco certified internet experts. I was able to build a system that gets people hired very easily. So there's a massive demand for cloud architects, massive. And I'll tell you why I don't think you should ever become a cloud engineer or a cloud admin. But the demand for cloud architects is sky high, sky high, sky high. Now, why we get people hired and we do it so easily is the following. We teach the career. The whole career. You know, when a doctor graduates medicals, guess what? They become a doctor. They don't start as a medical assistant. They're a doctor. When an airplane pilot gets out of school, they're a pilot. They don't have to be a mechanic or a flight attendant first. And that's why our students' first job is a solution architect or a cloud architect. So here's what we do. The skills required for a cloud architect are followed, and they're very extensive. Remember, a cloud architect makes as much as a physician and as much as a lawyer without the $300,000 of student loans and the 7 to 10 plus years of school. So we focus on the 2 sides of the business. The architect itself is a business executive. And let me tell you, 50 to 80% of what architects do is actually business. And 20 to 50% of what we do is actually tech. Now, for the people that study the tech, they will never get hired as a cloud architect because we're kind of like a unicorn. And the reason they call us unicorns, the real architects, and that's why we can earn up to $800,000 a year as architects, is we've got the skills in both the business and the tech. So what we train in our program, and all you need to do is sign up for our program, and you should get cloud hired, assuming you do all the work. But if you don't want to be on our program, I'll tell you all the things you need to learn first. The first side of it is on the business side. You must have business acumen because the whole job of the cloud architect is to transform a customer's business. And if you don't understand business, guess what you can't do? Improve it. Now, the next side of it, Teresa, is where others are studying on certifications. We design, present, and sell. And who buys our stuff? Not an engineer or a techie. The CEO, the CFO, the CIO, the CTO. So you must have something called CXO relevance, which is communicating to the language of the choice of the executive. The next thing you need to have is something called executive presence. And if you don't have it because all you study is tech, you can't be hired. Here's the difference. Hi, my name is Mike, and I'm a cloud architect. Do you think I'm going to earn a $300,000 salary that way? No. Do you think a customer is going to buy my $1 billion solution? No. But hi, I'm Mike. I'm a cloud architect, and I'm here to help you. It inspires something. So CXO relevancy training. Now, I'm going to tell you I have over $20,000 of CXO relevancy training, and we teach these skills to all of our students because it's that critical. Now, the next thing, Teresa, is leadership skills. No, there's no one cloud architect that designs anything ever. Architecture is a team sport. So after you meet with the client and you get their business goals, pain points, and challenges, you're going to have to build a team. Most of the architectures I work on take a team of between 16 and 50 people. You've got to be able to build a team of people that don't work for you and make them want to work. Now, Teresa, you're going to have to learn how to write like an executive, which is exactly the opposite of what they taught me in my MBA program. And I took special training for this, and we teach that to our students as well. Now, beyond this, you're going to be doing a lot of presentations. In fact, Teresa, the interview for a cloud architect job, the last one is a presentation. Can't deliver a killer presentation, can't get cloud hired. So we teach those presentation skills. Now, also, you have to be able to sell. We teach that. Now, here's the thing, Teresa. In order to get hired, you got to master the interview, right? So we teach you how to interview, and we even teach our students how to negotiate a higher salary. I'd say most of our students get about a 6-figure raise. In fact, in addition to the 6-figure raise, recently one of our students negotiated an additional $20,000 based upon the negotiation skills training. Guess what? The course is $1,000, and he negotiated an extra 20 on top of the 6-figure raise he got. Well, I think that's a pretty good return on investment. So there's that. That's the first half of what we teach, and you must do that. The second side of it is branding. I've got a marketing expert with 30 years of marketing experience on my team at Alonzo. And I spent decades learning how to be a marketing branding expert too. So we build up your brand doing several things that we do. So employers reach out to you. Most of our students don't even apply for jobs. They get so aggressively recruited from people because they're part of Go Cloud Careers. We were in 60 magazines, for example, this year. And we do branding work on the people so the world comes to them like vultures. Now the tech stuff. Where people go wrong is they get a certification which teaches the name of a service and how to configure that service. Guess what? Architects don't configure anything. And guess what? If I go to a CEO and talk about AWS S3, I'll be fired in a minute. I'll be kicked out of the meeting, escorted out by security, and fired. What has to happen is that customer has to feel you as a trusted advisor. So you have to know the underlying technology. But here's another reason for the underlying technology knowledge. How do you take something from the physical network and data center to the cloud, which is a virtual network and data center, if all you know is the name of a service and how to configure it? You must understand how the technology works at the fundamental level to be able to put the pieces and parts together into a cohesive solution. So we will also teach you the critical things that you need to know. On the networking side, it's BGP, it's IP addressing, subnetting, supernetting, route aggregation. It's interior gateway protocols to some degree because you're going to need them. Otherwise, you want to understand routing. And if you don't understand routing, you don't understand networking. If you don't understand networking, you can never understand the cloud. On top of that, we deal with switching and switching concepts because they're critical for the job. Can't connect to any of the cloud providers without understanding switching. So we'll teach you about VLANs, VLAN tagging, VLAN trunking, and port channel, ether channel, link aggregation, group spanning tree, rapid spanning tree, because that's such a critical part of the job. We will also teach you about NAT, and it's not like the silly nonsense they teach in the AWS Advanced Networking. There's one-to-one NAT, one-to-many NAT, static NAT, dynamic NAT, PAT. And it's not just going to the internet either. What happens when one company buys another company and they have overlapping IP addresses? We'll teach you how to deal with that. Last things on the networking side you need to know are DNS, DHCP, ARP, proxy ARP, and we'll teach you all those things just on the networking side. Now, what are we really working with on the data center, and what are we taking? We're taking that stuff from the networking data center and migrating it to the cloud. So we will teach you about servers and server virtualization and containers and container orchestration and all the storage area networks and how they work. Because if you're going to pull a petabyte of data from someone's data center and move it to the cloud, you need to know about 1 million times more than the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Professional. We teach all that. We'll teach you about block storage, object storage, file storage, so you know how to use them on all clouds. Then we'll teach you about databases, NoSQL databases, relational databases, which ones to use and which ones not to use because you can get locked in. We will teach you about the business applications that are critical to impact the customer's business performance, CRM systems, for example, unified communication systems, ERP systems, and all that, because that's part of being an architect. And then we'll teach you how to create real security with next generation firewalls, IDS, IPS systems, VPN concentrators. And we'll teach you about, the triple authentication authorization accounting, otherwise known as IAM, how it works and how to architect it into your situations. And then we'll teach you how to design this on multi-cloud environments. And here's why you have to know multi-clouds. A single cloud, if you only know a single cloud, that's the kiss of death to somebody's career. 81% of customers use multiple clouds. And the rest want to. And guess what? The US government just decided to have a $9 billion multi-cloud architecture. Now that does two things. It creates an enormous amount of jobs. This is party time for the architects. party, party, party time. But in addition to that, it sets a precedence to the rest of the world. Single cloud is dead. Now, in addition to doing that, we have live classes 3 times per week on Zoom, so we can actually design architectures together, get to real hands-on experience. All of our students do an internship to get real-world experience of some kind. And then we even teach you how, like I said, how to interview, how to build your resume, your LinkedIn profile to get the world to come to you. So that's how we help our people get jobs, and we do it every day. Almost every day, somebody calls me, Alonzo, and Chris and says, I got cloud hired. But we like architect jobs. Here's why we stay away from cloud admin jobs. That design, present, and sell element of the architect with the knowledge of how to put the pieces and parts together in a strategic way makes us so special. I can use AI to configure the cloud. I don't even need a person for it. It's pretty easy. But you can't replace, AI can't go to the CEO and say, hey, I'm going to sell you this $1 billion of stuff to generate $2 billion of revenue. That's the human side, and that's why we're so high touch in what we do, Teresa. So we'd love to work with you. My team will put the link to our course in the chat box for you, and we'd love to see a cloud hired. Nothing would make me happier.
All right, Mike, I guess you're feeling well. We can throw the timer out the window. All right.
Guess who's back again?
Oh, all right. So let's see what our next question is. All right, Teresa says, I'm in. Thank you, Mike. Awesome. That's exciting.
Look forward to working with you.
That is exciting to hear. So you can actually, let me see something here. Oh, I lost the link. I'll get the link here in just a second. All right, so our next question is, I'll let Alonzo answer this one. Should I get an engineer role prior to an architect role to get the experience?
Rock and roller, this is a resounding no, okay? Don't become a submarine pilot if you want to learn how to parachute, okay? So those are 2 different roles, although they have strong relationships between each other, because as a cloud architect designs, the engineer builds. However, if you're going to learn how to do that role, then that's going in the other direction of becoming a cloud architect. Now, a lot of what we see is people think that if you combine and compound the skill set of an engineer and a cloud architect, you're going to come up with this superhuman tech being. It's the opposite. You actually reduce your capabilities, you reduce your brand, because they don't know how to classify you. Architects, they do not code. We don't bootstrap. We don't do Linux. We don't do coding. We don't get on the command line. And you'll learn all that, and it'll take you years to do it, all for you to reverse everything that you've learned to become a cloud architect, because we design, present, and sell. So wanted to ensure that you knew that. Pick one that you love. If you like engineering and you liked more time on the command line, go for it. Give it everything you got. If you want to be client facing and you want to build relationships as you build architectural design, then I would definitely recommend a architectural position. So decide what you want, rock and roller, and roll with it.
All right. Next question is from Bliss. How do you build confidence as a cloud architect?
Well, I'll give you a little experience in my life. If I don't know it well and I don't feel good, I don't have confidence. But the better I am, the more confidence I have. I can tell you that's for me and me personally. For example, the hardest certification exam in the world was the CCIE back when. That's a 2-day exam. I spent 6 months preparing for this exam, and when I passed the exam, that's when my learning began. In fact, even after the CCIE, I didn't have confidence, because I knew just the 75,000 pages of reading material I had for that probably wasn't enough, because it was such a deeply technical job. The cloud's like 1,000,000 times easier than the networking at that level. But the key is make yourself better. If you're nervous, what are you doing to improve that thing? So train, train, and train. And I like to say get better every day. When you know you're better, and then Bliss, once you go out there and work and you see that you're better than the rest because you've practiced and practiced and practiced and sharpened your skills, you'll have confidence. But if you lack confidence or feel imposter syndrome, there's usually a reason for that. You know you're not ready, and your gut and your subconscious mind is telling you you don't have confidence. So train to get better every day. Now, how about you guys?
I agree. First of all, and this is from my perspective, be confident as a cloud architect. Have confidence in yourself, period. Just like agnostic cloud, and it encompasses everything that just specific cloud service providers provide. Encompass your confidence in yourself and everything you do. You get up in the morning strong, you go to bed strong, and you apply your capabilities as a cloud architect in everything you do. Now, when it comes to being a cloud architect, it's not you learn it and you live it. It's a constant application. It's constant growth. It's constant initiation to build relationships, understand the tech. Tech is not stagnant. It continues to innovate, becomes the next generation, and so forth. Do the same thing with yourself, okay? And build the best cloud career as a confident cloud architect.
Yeah, I think I agree with them. It's not just how to build confidence as a cloud architect. It's just how to build confidence. If you'll be confident when you've got the knowledge and the competency. If there are ways to improve your confidence, and that's some things that we go over in our training program. And at its simplest and easiest way to define it is become comfortable with the uncomfortable. Put yourself in situations where you lack confidence. That there's not anything on the line. Let me put it that way. But put yourself in uncomfortable situations, and you'll grow. Your confidence will grow by nature. Not everybody has gotten to where they are with an easy road. So that's my 2 cents on that.
And with Bliss, just to say this, I know that there's something you're passionate about, something that you've been good at. Apply that same rationale to everything you do, especially as becoming a cloud architect.
All right. So I'm interested in security and programming, but I really appreciate learning the mindset you guys teach and your experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Boban.
Thank you, Boban. Let me give you a 60-second piece of advice. You can't do programming and security. They're 2 separate careers. And if you try to do both, you will be a disaster at both. You can spend the rest of your life learning security, or you can spend the rest of your life learning how to be a great developer. Different careers. The only combination of these is DevSecOps, where you're a developer, then a DevOps engineer, and a little security, but that's not real security. It's this little thing. So you got to figure out even what kind of security you want to be. What I mean by that is, do you want to be a penetration tester that breaks in? Do you want to be someone that's a defender of the cloud? Do you want to design it, or do you want to build it? And Boban, we love having you here. We really do. And I just want to make sure that you have a good career. And I want to make sure that, a year from now, 2 years from now, you have a couple $100,000 extra in your salary. And that's why I want to help you. Yeah. So please don't try to do 2 people's jobs. If you do, you can't do it well. That's why a marathon runner looks really skinny and runs marathons. And that's why a gymnast is muscular, because they do different sports. If a gymnast runs, they lose muscle mass and strength, speed, and power. If a marathon runner does too much gymnastics, they get too bulky, and then they aren't good at their sport. Pick your sport.
There's not really a question here, but I'm sure somebody can say something. I work in consulting or Oracle HR. I'm looking to transition to AWS. That is, from my perspective, that's very vague. I'm not sure what your goal is. Like, AWS is a brand.
Yeah.
I don't know what Oracle HR is, but if my mind is you work in human resources, I I'm not sure if that's what that is. So if you want to be a little more clear about what your current role is and what your desired role is cloud architect, solution architect. Are you an engineer? Do you work in DevOps currently? If you do work in human resources, let us know. But give us a little bit more information so we can be a little bit more helpful. All right. So Bliss says, how do you overcome trying again next time you don't qualify for the job interview when you had the certification and the experience required? I'll start off this one so that Mike rests his voice.
Yeah, and I'll take it so we can rest it more.
Yeah, so you might have the certification and you might have the experience, but you might not be showing it. And if you're not showing it, then you're not going to get past the interview. Because if you're not showing it, the first place that you may not be showing it is on your resume. And if you're not showing it properly on your resume and you're showing things that are relevant to unrelated roles, then you go into the interview at a disadvantage because they've already decided how they're going to do the interview. They're going to do the interview based on your resume. And if your resume is not presenting you as an architect, now you didn't say what role you want, so I'm assuming architect. So let's assume you want to be an architect. Your resume presents the brand of a DevOps engineer. Your interview is not going to be for an architect.
Nope.
Your interview is going to be for a DevOps engineer. It might say on the sign-in sheet, cloud architect interview when you sign in, but the interview is actually going to be about a DevOps role because that's what your resume has presented them, and that's all they have to work off of. So that's one possibility as to why you don't qualify is because you're putting yourself in the wrong situation. Now, there's the possibility that you are presenting yourself properly on the resume, but then once you get in the interview, you don't follow it up properly and continue to present yourself in the right way. These are the most likely reasons that you don't qualify. It's because you're not presenting the true version that you want to present. Without any more information about the specific situation, those are the two most likely reasons as to why you're not qualified. And the reason I put not qualified in quotes is because not qualified, don't have enough experience, so on and so on. These are just nice ways of saying you blew the interview. And that's not saying like you purposely blew it or you completely bombed. It's just you ended up having a different interview than what it was supposed to be. And you have to be able to control the interview.
Yeah.
So Alonzo, I'll let you chime in.
Okay, Bliss, let's unpack this. How do you overcome trying again the next time you don't qualify for the job interview? Ask yourself what's important, the disappointment or the hope that you will get it. You have to believe in yourself. It leads back to your original question about confidence. Build up your confidence. Know that even though you may not have the skill set, you will, and you will have it soon. Take command of your future by believing in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, everyone else will come to do it too, because again, I say this a lot. If you don't show the confidence, why would anyone want to believe in you if you don't show it yourself? Everyone here is very confident. Chris has an outstanding background. Mike, you already know his story. I have a great story. I'm very confident, as I am confident in my teammates as well about what they can do because they know it, they exude it, and they communicate it. So with you not knowing that, and not getting the job, so what? On to the next one. You know what you didn't do, you know what you need to compensate for, and you'll be able to build a better strategy to move forward and secure the job that you really want. Now, when it comes to having certification and experience required, it doesn't matter if you're not competent, okay? We do not, although we respect and feel that there is value in certifications, it is not the end all to be all. It will get you an interview, but it will not lock you into that job. No way. Okay. When it comes to experience, what kind of experience? Does it show that you've been sitting in a job for a long time, or does it show that you have grown in this position, have become very competent and capable to work on the skill set and whatnot that they're looking for for you to do the job successfully. So ask yourself, just like Chris had said before, are you communicating your capabilities effectively? Are you able to showcase your skill set, provide using the STAR method, if you will, showcasing a situation, what you did about it, what the end result was, and how you were able to successfully add value to your current or past organization, how you can segue that into the new job that you want to work for. So do your homework. Find out what you're doing right, find out what you're doing wrong, and you can learn a lot of what we have here at Go Cloud Careers.
And Bliss, I'm going to add to that. So if I understood your question, my team basically told you why engineers often have a hard time passing architect interviews. But if your question is how do you get an interview when you don't qualify for the interview, that's a slightly different answer, and I want to address that as well, just in case. Certifications to hiring managers are not that important. And the reason they're not that important is anybody can pass them with all the past guarantees out there, and you can even pay other people to take them for you. Now, you mentioned experience, but what experience? I'll tell you right now, if I see an engineering resume come to me with a bunch of certifications, I'm never going to interview them for an architect, ever. And here's the reason why. If you are an airplane mechanic for 20 years and you've got a pilot certification, and I've got someone that's got pilot experience for 5 years, I'm going to go with a pilot. And here's the reason why. Engineering experience has nothing to do with you being an architect. An engineer builds and does construction, and an architect does design. So the key is making, as Chris mentioned on your resume, you have to look like an architect. For example, I had a CCI recently. He had a lot of network engineering. A couple of weeks into our program, and he's a senior solutions architect with AWS because we showed that he was an architect and not an engineer. So if your resume talks about coding, and if your resume talks about this, it's going to signal me as the hiring manager to throw that resume in the trash, no matter how good you are. Now, if you did say, coded a new website that increased revenue by 11%, that's something an architect would do because you're showing the measurable business impact of what you did. So the key is you have to show the business implications of what you did, not the tech. Remember, architects do digital transformation. Engineers do techie work. So you can't look like a techie. So if you're trying to count engineering experience as architecture, that's not going to be the way. Look, Daniel Bosu had 0 experience. He didn't even graduate high school, and we got him hired by JP Morgan Chase. Delroy Batt had 0 experience, and he's now a cloud security architect. Coyote, working at AWS as a solution architect, 0 experience. Ivan Tamba, but we built their brand for them, and we built their resume. So you can't look like an engineer and try to get an architect job. You must look like an architect. Because I love cats and dogs, right? I wanted a golden retriever. My wife wanted a cat. My wife wanted a cat, so we got a cat. Now, when I went to the cat rescue, there was a beautiful golden retriever, which I really wanted, but I got that cat because my wife wanted a cat. People hire the exact animal they're looking for.
All right, so let's see. Next question is from OT. How much does the training cost? So our Cloud Architect Career Development Program is $999, so just under $1,000. And that is about 1.5 days pay for the average cloud architect. It is the lowest price that the program will ever be. So we encourage you to take advantage of that if you've got the ability. And we look forward to working with you. Let us know if you've got any questions about the specifically about the program, and we'll be glad to answer them. I'm going to put a link in the chat box for everybody about the program so that you can see it. There you go. Next question. So Vincent says, recession and layoffs are here. What are the chances for those self-study for cloud jobs? So self-study depends on how well your program is. For people to get the cloud job, if they do it the right way, we just had 3 people in the past week get a job. One of them at a company that did layoffs. So, I mean, it's if you're doing self-study, that's it really depends on the quality of your self-study and the quality of your preparation for the role. Anybody want to provide any more insights to that?
Definitely. Vincent, I know, yeah, we understand layoffs and recessions are here. It's a very unstable market, a lot of uncertainty. However, through our program, people are getting hired. We teach, and what we offer is recession resistant training. And one of the things that is difficult about training by yourself is that you don't have a measuring stick to benchmark from to see how well or how inefficient things are with your training. So you may be able to, and then it also is about, where you're getting your training from and what your focus is about that specific cloud job. Are you, do you have the right training? Do you want this career? Or do you have what's needed to meet these requirements? There's so many factors involved, but that focus should be about ensuring that you have the right training with the right people with the experience. What about you, Mike?
So the key is it's going to depend on the quality of your self-study. If your self-study plan revolves around getting a bunch of certifications, no, you're not going to get there. If your self-study builds real fundamentals, and to be fair, to get a solution architect job without our kind of training, by the time you're done on the business, networking, and data center things, you're probably going to deal with about 25 to 50,000 pages of reading. And if you can do that, and you can deliver the right presentations, and you can develop the right business acumen and things like this, sure you can. Sure you can. But, it's two things I'd like to tell you. I'd really like to discuss the time value of money versus something. So if you do a self-study for the next 3 years to get your first cloud job, you're probably going to get there. And it may take you 3 years to do it. And I encourage you to do it if that's the only way you can get through. The average cloud architect in the US earns $800 a day. $800. I've got a course right now that's $900. It's effectively a single day's pay.
Yeah.
A cloud architect in the US on average earns $16,000 a month. So $200,000 a year. So if it takes you 3 years to do it on your own, it's going to cost you $600,000 of lost income versus paying $1,000 for a course and getting the right training. You're getting hired 2 years earlier. So that's up to you. How you want to do it, I just care that you get hired. But, I'm a business person. And, what I did to let you know, and I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. And I'm going to tell you right now, when I was in internal medicine, I spent $40,000 to transition into technology. And then I still had to do self-study after it to do it. Now, that $40,000 helped me get my CCIE back when it was a hard 2-day exam. And here's the thing. My best friend Nagaraja self-studied. He self-studied and told me I was crazy for wasting $40,000 for it. Now, 3 years later, he became a CCIE. And going back 20-some years ago, prior to the CCIE and that level of knowledge, my salary was $85,000. Almost a year later, my salary after the CCIE was about $160,000. So I got an $80,000 raise for 3 years faster than my best friend Nagaraja. So put that into context, I earned $240,000 minus the 40. So I had an additional $200,000 above my best friend that did it on his own self-pay strategy. So I recommend getting the right education to get you your goals faster because the financial implications are great. Now, it's not just earning more money now, but with that extra $80,000 that I earned over my best friend because I invested in it, I actually invested that money. And basically speaking, an average investment, every 7 years, you can double your thing. So my $200,000 became $400,000 in 7 years and $800,000, etc. So time value of money. I recommend you get through with the best training you can if it's at all possible for you, because I want you to earn the most and have some generational wealth, things you can pass on to your kids and grandkids.
All right. So just to let everybody know, we will be wrapping up here in about 10 minutes. So if you've got any last questions, since everybody waited about 20 minutes to ask questions at the beginning, make sure you get them in now. Yeah, that was good. Thank you for adding to that, Mike. So I love this one, Georgetta. Glad you're here. You're here for the motivation.
Georgetta, I know who you are. We love you. Stay motivated, stay strong, and never give up until you get to your goals.
Okay, so Mohammed says, I think the idea of a specialist and a generalist need to be clear to most young engineers.
100% agree with you, Mohammed.
Yep. Okay. Sync says, I have an MCSE and a CCIE background as a network engineer with experience in server network virtualization, and I want to be a skillful cloud architect. How should be my study plan? Thank you very much.
Okay, Sync. Good news. You're 50% of the way there. 50%. Pretty much you already know the network and the data center at a good level. And guess what? That's the cloud. Now the challenge is to go from engineer to architect. And what you're going to need to do is the following things. You can either take an MBA to get all those business skills that we talked about, or you could take our program we've got, which can get you there. The difference from engineering to architecture, engineer builds, architect designs. So a network architect or an enterprise architect is pretty close to a cloud architect, pretty much the same job. So if you were a network architect, say, and what you were doing was going to a customer and asking the customer about their business challenges and availability needs, for example, from there, you would go back and build a team. Let's say you're a CCI like me, my number is 7417 back when it was a 2-day exam. And my specialty is BGP and PIM, IP multicast technology. That's where most of my world is. So when I would deal with a bank, for example, and we're dealing with 100 million or plus network architecture, I'd find my unified communications engineers, I'd find some video people, I'd find some switching people, and we would design it together. So in your case, you need to develop the sales skills, the leadership skills, the executive presence skills, the negotiation skills, and those kinds of things. You can learn that with us in our Cloud Architect Career Development Program. And if you're in our program, wow, I think you would do real well. You know, when we have people with a good CCIE background and a good networking background, we can be dealing with salaries of close to $300,000 with the right training. Because with that, you bring a wealth of the technology. And it's not like we need to teach you the technology, you have it. But you do need those other businessy skills. So you can get an MBA, or you could take our Cloud Architect Career Development Program. And we would love, love, love to help you there. Or you can get the MBA, whatever you want. You're in a very good place. But to go from engineer to architect, you're going to need the branding changes and the business things. And someone's going to have to show you how to convert those engineering things to architect things and networking things to cloud things.
Okay. All right. So Vincent Luss says, what is your opinion about market saturation of IT professionals in general?
I'll touch this one. So there's an absolute critical shortage of people that can use the technology to impact business performance. I could interview 1,000 people and can't find someone. That there's not. Now, when it comes to people at the low end that are focused on configuring, forget it. I can have one DevOps engineer replace 50 cloud admins. And here's the reality. We can use something like a chat GPT to do all that cloud admin work and all the hands-on configuration. So if you're focused on low levels of engineering, I don't see a future. How scared am I about engineering? If the market changes, we stop selling our engineering program, only to focus on architecture, because I don't want to sell somebody a course if I don't feel confident about their long-term future. Engineering could be a very profitable business for us, believe me. But I'm not going to do something if I don't think it's in the best interest of our clients. So focus on architecture, focus on tech sales, focus on tech program management, something where the human element is there, and you should be really, really good. There's a critical shortage.
All right. So the next question is, what are some techniques you use when a client is not willing to fully adopt the proposed architecture?
So all related
that we cover in our program.
Yes.
Or for the students in our program. That is the type of education and training that we provide.
And that's the difference between an engineer and an architect. the ability to build a business case, the ability to do financial modeling, the ability to show the customers the value of the solution. We have to teach that. That's why engineers and architects completely different.
Teresa says, why do you guys do what you do?
I'll tell you why I found the company, and then I'm going to have everyone actually answer that question. I do what I do for the following reason, and it all started like this. I've loved to get people get hired. I grew up pretty poor, Teresa, and when I got my first tech job, it changed my life. And when I became an enterprise architect, it really changed my life. But I feel like I had no choice. I had to do this, Teresa. I had no choice. See, I was asked by my friend to get his son an incredible job. The kid was finishing school, highly motivated, one of the most intelligent people I ever met. And I said to the father, you got it. I'll coach him for 2 to 4 hours on Friday. And I bought him the 3 top-selling AWS certification courses. I bought it for him. I figured that could fill in the thing, and I would really give him the stuff that he needed. But after a couple of days, he called me and he said, Mike, I set up an AWS S3 bucket and an EC2 instance. What is it? I said, what do you mean, what is it? So I watched the training and I went, wow. Name of a service, how to configure that service. That's not architecture. So what I did is I interviewed 1,000 AWS certified people, and none of them, a big zero, could actually do the job. And I knew that I could fix all those certified people or nobody that was not certified and get them hired. And I love getting people hired. So I do what I do because I like changing lives. Believe me, this is not, I would get paid 1 million times more to go out there and work as an $800,000 a year chief architect. But I love changing the world and I love getting people hired. When my students get hired, almost at the end of the day, it's like a happy dance party. I like changing lives. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, it's pretty much the reason. There's really no other reason that I do what I do. It's because we like to help people, and at least I like to help people, and I like to change people's lives. It's pretty straightforward. There's no reason to go into really any long, detailed, explanatory answer. I just want to help people change their lives. So, Alonzo,
what he said, same thing. I love to help people. I love to get that cloud hired text. I love to be able to help people get to where they want to be able to help them realize how great they are, how tremendously wonderful they are, and how they can use their life experiences and transform that into a awesome cloud career. We've seen so many people, they started off as landscapers, retail shoe sellers, and watching that transition from them not feeling very good about themselves, realizing their potential, transforming how they think into cloud architects, and us getting that text saying that they were cloud hired. You can't put a price tag on it. So I echo these great men in their opinions about, at the end of the day, we want to help people.
all right, so we are wrapping up. I've got 2 questions left, and we will address those 2 questions, and then we will be finished. Make sure you join our webinar. Collins, if you can put the link in the chat box again for the webinar, that would be great. So Satya says, sir, ChatGPT-3 is writing all Linux commands, even shell. Will it replace jobs? Yes.
Yes.
Not architect jobs.
Not architect.
You can't automate an architect's job.
You can't automate leadership. You can't automate nuance. You can't automate innovation. You can't automate ideation, imagination. You can't. But they already, from what I understand, that they're already having some automation on scripting already. So,
It's one of the many reasons for years we've said we don't recommend programming careers and we don't do admin careers. And anybody who thinks career training or certification training, those people were replaced by AI. But you can't go to a customer, evaluate their balance sheet, ask all the executives what's going on, and find a way to innovate in their business. That can't be replaced by AI. So That's why we recommend architecture careers, and we stay far, far, far away from any of these admin type things.
All right, so our last question is from Isaac, and he says, struggling to find a gig. Yes, I have self-studied to a practitioner cert. Almost had the SAA with about 8 years of telecommunications networking. Where could I go on the path of cloud? And he previously had another comment that indicated architect was his desired role. So this will be our closing question for the day.
So the thing is, you're talking about certifications, and certifications don't make architects. Certifications teach name of a service and how to configure it. Architects design, present, and sell a solution to improve business performance. So you're going to need training. I can't tell you, Isaac, the number of cloud engineers that we've had with 5 and 10 years experience that need to be completely retrained to be cloud architects, and we get them hired. You're going to need architecture training. So we could get it for you, or you could get an MBA for the business side of it, and then take design training, and there's lots of ways that you can get there. But our Cloud Architect Career Development Program is basically a single day's pay for the average architect. And the other options that I could tell you would cost you way over $50,000 to get there. So I created this because I knew most people couldn't afford that. But that's really what you need to do. You need to learn architecture. Engineering is putting pieces together and building it. So think of it this way. And a cloud engineer is like a construction worker on the cloud. Now, if I taught a regular construction worker, somebody that off the street, how to use a hammer, a nail, a screwdriver, a jackhammer, and all those other tools that building the construction workers use, and then I said, here, design a hotel that's 1,000 meters tall. Could they do it? The answer is no. So you need to be trained to be a systems designer versus an engineer. And you're not going to get that from certification, but you can get it with the right training. And on tomorrow, on Thursday, we'll have a 30-minute presentation for you here. Everything you need to know to become a world-class cloud architect. And guess what? After that, for about an hour and a half, you can come off mute. We can have a face-to-face discussion live via video. Love to talk to you.
All right. So I want to thank everybody for coming. As we mentioned, the webinar, Collins just put a link in the chat box just a minute ago. The link is in the description. That webinar will be free. It will be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. If you're unable to attend, go ahead and register, and we'll give you we'll send you a recording that you can watch for a short period of time after the webinar is over. So make sure you register for that. Okay.
So make sure you register for that, as Chris said.
Yeah, so I don't know what comment you want me to put out there.
Don't worry about it then.
Okay, Angela. Okay. I'll let you read it, Mike.
So Angelo, thank you for popping in. We know you. We have the utmost respect for you. Dropping in to say hello, Go Cloud Careers is the real deal. Certification training, business acumen, executive presence, and deep technical training will move your career forward in wonderful ways. Angela, thanks so much. It's an honor to know you in every single way, and we are thrilled to see you here.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Look forward to seeing you in the webinar tomorrow, and hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone.